Hey, you. Yeah, you with the tired eyes and the heavy heart acting like it's normal. Come closer for a second. Because, I need to tell you something nobody in your life has had the courage or the range to say to you. You walk around like you're just another face in the crowd. But the truth is, you've never blended in a day in your life. People pretend they don't notice. They act unbothered. They fake indifference. But your presence shifts the temperature in every room you enter. And, let's be honest, you can feel it. You've always felt it. That strange tension when you walk in, that sudden hush in the conversation, that quiet, confused curiosity people have about you because they can't figure out your origin story. See, people like you weren't meant to be understood on the first try, or the 10th, or ever. Because your spirit isn't from the same factory line as everyone else's. It wasn't built with the same materials. It wasn't shaped by the same circumstances. You were carved out of survival, stitched together by pain, sharpened by every silent night you cried into a pillow nobody knew about. And, here's the heartbreaking part. You keep explaining yourself to people who haven't even survived their own ego. You're out here trying to justify your moves, your silence, your distance, your standards, to people who panic when life gets inconvenient. Meanwhile, you've carried trauma that would have sent most people into permanent shutdown. You ever notice how drained you feel after defending your decisions to people who don't even have decisions to make? How tired you get after trying to convince someone that your peace matters? How exhausted you become every time you break down your thought process like you owe them a PowerPoint presentation? Let me tell you what's really happening. They're not confused. They're intimidated, and intimidation wears a lot of disguises. It looks like judgment. It looks like side eye. It looks like unsolicited opinions. It looks like, why are you like this? It looks like, explain yourself. But it's all the same thing at the core. Your energy exposes their lack. Your rare spirit, the one you downplay so much. It forces people to confront the parts of themselves they've left undeveloped. And because they don't want to face that mirror, they try to make you shrink instead. But here's the twist. The very thing they make you apologize for is the thing they envy. Your depth, threatening. Your intuition, scary accurate. Your independence makes them feel replaceable. Your resilience makes their struggles look self-inflicted. Your silence says more than their loudest complaints. And this is the part nobody warns you about. When your spirit is rare, your life becomes a magnet for misunderstanding. Not because you're wrong, not because you're difficult, but because you operate on a frequency most people have never tuned into. You're speaking radio station truth to people still trying to catch Wi-Fi, and yet you explain and explain and explain. But if you understood even 1% of your rarity, you'd stop mid-sentence, stand up, adjust your jacket, and walk away without offering a single explanation. Because people who get you don't need explanations, and people who demand explanations will never get you. Think about it. How many times have you diluted yourself just to keep the peace? How many times have you pretended to be undecided when you already knew the answer? How many times have you forced yourself to stay small because the room you were in couldn't handle your full size? Let me remind you, rare things don't beg to be understood. They don't prove themselves. They don't negotiate their worth. They don't explain why they shine. They just are. And you've survived betrayals that would have broken the average person. You've rebuilt yourself in silence while people thought you were falling apart. You've carried wounds with a straight face. You've felt abandoned and still kept giving love. You've been dismissed but kept your grace. You've been underestimated but kept your composure. That's not normal behavior. That's not regular human stuff. That's the rare spirit I'm talking about. And, I know you feel it, even if you don't admit it. That small voice inside you whispering, "You're meant for more. You're not like them. You don't belong in these conversations. You're flowing on a different timeline." You've been trying to fit into spaces your soul has already outgrown. Trying to get validation from people whose opinions don't even align with their own lives. Trying to be understood by people who haven't even understood themselves. If you understood how truly rare your spirit is, you'd stop explaining your silence. You'd stop defending your boundaries. You'd stop justifying your standards. You'd stop negotiating your value. You'd stop proving your loyalty. You'd stop breaking down your intuition like a math problem. You'd simply walk away with your head high, with your energy intact, with your dignity untouched. Because when something is rare, you don't question it, you protect it. And, that's what you've been missing this whole time. Protection of self, protection of spirit, protection of peace, protection of that deep, quiet, powerful soul that didn't come here to be explained. It came here to be felt. You're not meant to be understood. You're meant to be recognized. And only the rare will recognize the rare. So let them misunderstand you. Let them question you. Let them gossip about you. Let them build stories in their heads. Let them try to interpret a divine frequency with a human mindset. You don't explain yourself to people who couldn't carry your light, even if you handed it to them. If you understood how rare your spirit is, you'd already be gone. You'd already have walked away. You'd already be on the next chapter, leaving their confusion behind like dust on your shoes. Because rare things don't chase validation. They don't ask for permission. They don't wait for applause. They don't clarify their magic. They just move quietly, confidently, powerfully. And, deep down, you know it's time for you to do the same. Because the truth is, you've been walking around with this quiet, almost dangerous knowing tucked behind your ribs. And, you keep pretending you don't feel it. That inner pull, that tug in your chest that says you're outgrowing things faster than you can explain them. And honestly, it's getting harder for you to keep acting like you're supposed to stay where you've already evolved past. You've been shrinking yourself into conversations that don't stimulate you, circles that drain you, environments that don't match your internal temperature anymore. And you feel that mismatch every single day. It's in the way you pause mid-sentence because the words you want to say are too heavy for the people around you to hold. It's in the way you overthink before you speak, because you've learned the hard way that your honesty is too sharp for people who only sharpened themselves on comfort. You've been carrying this weight of trying not to intimidate anyone, trying not to come off too much, trying not to overshadow people who are still figuring themselves out. And you keep dimming your light like that's going to make anyone else brighter. You already know it doesn't work like that. You've watched people take advantage of your softness, misuse your empathy, twist your intentions, and misread your silence. And you kept explaining yourself because you thought maybe, just maybe, they'd understand you if you broke yourself down into smaller, easier pieces. Except you were never built for small. You were never meant to be digestible. You were never created to be an easy read. You're layered, you're complex. You're the type of person who feels everything deeply, sees patterns other people overlook, and picks up on energies before a single word is spoken. And, when you're that rare on the inside, the external world starts to feel like it's moving in slow motion around you. That's why conversations feel shallow. That's why certain relationships feel lopsided. That's why your patience feels thinner than usual. That's why you feel drained by things that used to feel normal. Your spirit is evolving faster than your surroundings. Your intuition is louder than your doubts. Your heart is stronger than your past. Your mind is sharper than the noise. And, you've outgrown explaining yourself, but you haven't outgrown the habit of explaining yourself. That's the tension you're feeling. You're stuck between who you were trained to be and who you're becoming, between pleasing people and protecting yourself, between making others comfortable and honoring your own power. There's a version of you building itself in the background right now, one that doesn't translate their worth, one that doesn't justify their boundaries, one that doesn't ask permission to choose peace, one that doesn't feel guilty for outgrowing places, one that doesn't apologize for being distant when distance is exactly what keeps you sane. And, you can feel that version of you fighting to come forward. Every time you bite your tongue, every time you pretend you're okay with something you're not, every time you try to soften a no so it doesn't hurt someone who never softened their yes for you, every time you turn your back on your own instincts just to seem agreeable. It's wild how much you've tolerated simply because you didn't want to be misunderstood. It's wild how many nights you stayed awake, rehearsing explanations no one deserved. It's wild how many times you've played down your own evolution because you didn't want anyone to feel left behind. Your rare spirit was never supposed to be a public service. It wasn't meant to be handed out to people who haven't even built themselves enough to receive you properly. You can sense how much your presence has shifted lately. You're more selective with your energy. You're quieter, but not weaker. You're distant, but not disconnected. You're observant in a way that makes people nervous because they can tell you, see right through the masks they haven't taken off yet. You've become the kind of person who doesn't need to raise their voice to make people feel uneasy. Your silence alone forces truth out of them. You've become the kind of person whose absence speaks louder than your explanations ever did. You've become the kind of person who can be in a room for 5 minutes and already know who's genuine, who's pretending, who's insecure, who's envious, who's threatened, who's fascinated, and who's praying you don't notice the way they study you. And, that awareness isn't an accident. That's the rare spirit talking. That's the part of you they'll never admit they admire. The part that sees what others avoid, feels what others numb, understands what others dismiss, and moves with a kind of quiet power people spend years trying to imitate. That's why your explanations have become so exhausting. That's why you feel irritated when someone asks you to justify your choices. That's why you get emotionally tired trying to translate feelings that weren't meant to be translated. They were meant to be sensed. You've been living at a depth most people never reach in their entire lifetime, and you keep expecting them to swim with you when they're still afraid of their own reflection in shallow water. Your spirit isn't rare because of what you've been through. It's rare because of how you carried it, how you didn't harden, how you didn't break, how you didn't lose your empathy even after people weaponized it, how you didn't lose your vision even when you walked through fog, how you didn't lose your heart even when it was shattered, How you didn't lose your identity even when people tried to rewrite it for you. There's a kind of soul that survives disappointment after disappointment and still chooses integrity. A kind that's betrayed but still refuses to betray itself. A kind that's isolated but still refuses to settle for company that drains its purpose. A kind that walks alone, not because it's broken, but because it's aligned. You've been trying to explain alignment to people who only understand attachment. Trying to explain elevation to people who never outgrew their comfort zones. Trying to explain your silence to people who hear noise better than they hear truth. Trying to explain your peace to people who have never experienced theirs. And, your spirit is already shifting away from explaining anything at all. You can feel it in the way you respond slower, in the way you observe more, in the way you detach without warning, in the way your energy withdraws long before your body does, in the way your soul quietly pulls you out of places your mouth hasn't even announced yet. Your rare spirit is teaching you that walking away isn't abandonment. It's preservation, it's clarity, it's evolution, it's self-respect disguised as distance, it's wisdom disguised as silence, and you're getting closer to fully stepping into that version of yourself, the one that doesn't need to defend, decode, or dilute anything. The one that recognizes misalignment instantly, the one that trusts its intuition without negotiation, the one that walks away mid-sentence because the conversation was never worthy of your depth in the first place. The one that moves like someone who finally understands where their rarity comes from and what it demands. Your spirit has never been looking for understanding. It's been looking for resonance. And resonance doesn't require explanation. It recognizes you the moment you walk in. It feels you before you speak. It aligns with you without asking for reasons. You're stepping into that territory now, even if you're not fully admitting it out loud yet. There's a shift happening in you. A quiet one, a powerful one, the kind that makes people say, "You've changed." When the truth is, you've finally stopped pretending you're common. And, it's wild watching you step into that reality without even realizing how natural it feels. Like your soul has been waiting years for you to finally catch up to who you were always meant to be. You can hear it in the way your mind responds differently now. Less panic, more clarity. Less, what if they're upset? And more, why am I even entertaining this energy? Less emotional scrambling, more emotional precision. Less begging to be understood, more observing who actually deserves access. There's this shift in your posture, too. A shift in your presence, a shift in your silence. People feel it even if they can't explain it. And, it confuses them because you're not loud about it. You're not dramatic about it. You're not doing some big performance. You're just changing frequency in a way that demands a different level of respect. You've got this new kind of calm, the kind that comes from realizing you don't owe anyone a breakdown of your evolution. You don't owe them a step-by-step manual of your healing. You don't owe them a dissertation about why your boundaries are suddenly non-negotiable. And you definitely don't owe them a comfortable version of yourself just to maintain a dynamic that was draining your spirit in the first place. You've spent years giving people emotional discounts, spiritual coupons, relational freebies, until your soul tapped you on the shoulder and whispered, "We can't afford this anymore." And you felt that. You felt it all the way in your chest. It's in the way you don't jump at every text anymore. It's in the way you don't explain the tone in your voice. It's in the way you don't chase conversations you used to overthink at night. It's in the way you choose your words with such surgical precision that people can't manipulate the narrative anymore. You're stepping into your rare spirit with this quiet authority that exposes everything around you. People who were comfortable when you were confused suddenly act uneasy now that you're certain. People who loved it when you doubted yourself suddenly pull back when you trust your intuition. People who thrived on your over-explaining suddenly don't know how to act when you answer with a single sentence and a steady tone. It's interesting watching how your peace triggers people who depended on your chaos. Your clarity makes them uncomfortable. Your boundaries make them reflective. Your self-respect makes them defensive. Your glow makes them rethink the way they treated you. And you're not even bragging. You're not even trying. You're just finally aligning with your spirit instead of negotiating with everyone else's insecurities. There's something magnetic about someone who knows who they are without needing external approval. You've started embodying that energy naturally, not because you're trying to be mysterious, not because you're trying to be superior, but because your soul is done participating in conversations that shrink your destiny. Your rarity has started speaking louder than your explanations ever did. You're noticing how your tolerance has changed. You can't fake interest in meaningless talk. You can't pretend certain people still resonate. You can't force connections that drain your nervous system. You can't attach yourself to environments that limit your expansion. You can't keep watering dead energy just to prove you're loyal. Your spirit is doing the sorting for you, not because you're cold, but because you're finally warm to yourself. You're realizing you don't have to justify your distance when your peace is the evidence. You don't have to justify your boundaries when your past is the proof. You don't have to justify your standards when your growth is the reason. You don't have to justify your silence when your intuition is louder than any argument, and the craziest part is watching yourself detach without bitterness. That's the true rare spirit, not the dramatic exits, not the explosive confrontations, just that slow, steady, quiet, emotional drifting that happens when your soul decides, this no longer matches who I am. You're not angry, you're not resentful, you're just done over-explaining, done over-giving, done overstaying, done over-feeling responsible for other people's inability to understand you. There's a version of you emerging that doesn't need closure because your self-awareness is the closure. You don't need validation because your intuition already confirmed the truth. You don't need to unpack your reasons because your energy doesn't lie. You don't need to break down your emotions because your spirit already found its answer. There's a certain kind of power that settles into your bones when you stop explaining and start existing. A certain kind of freedom, a certain kind of stillness, a certain kind of confidence that can't be taught, only earned through surviving the things that tried to dim you. You're tapping into that energy more each day, even if you haven't named it yet. That subtle self-trust, that inner certainty, that emotional sobriety, that spiritual clarity that tells you exactly when someone is aligned with your growth or anchored to your past. You've become someone who feels the shift before it happens, who senses the change before it's visible, who recognizes the lesson before the pain arrives, who sees the truth even when the words sound good. And, it's getting harder for people to hide their intentions around you, because your spirit doesn't operate on spoken language. It operates on vibration, on sincerity, on alignment, on energy that can't be faked. Hey, Yeah, you. Come here for a second. Let me talk to you. Take a breath, all right? Because what I'm about to say, you're gonna feel it in your chest. This ain't some cute little speech. This ain't some polished TED Talk moment. Nah, this is raw. This is personal. This is that truth you don't say out loud. This is that truth that's been sitting under your ribs for years, scratching to get out. Now listen closely. You are walking straight into judgment season this December, and you don't even realize how loud your steps are getting. You don't even realize how the whole damn universe has been watching you take hit after hit, betrayal after betrayal, silence after silence, while everybody who swore they cared stood there like statues. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Those people who had a mouth when they needed something, but somehow forgot how to speak when you were in the fire. And the wild part? They acted like God was blind, like your pain was private, like your tears evaporated into nothing, but nah, no, not even close. Because the thing they never understood, or maybe they did and didn't care, is that God never missed a damn detail. Not the conversations behind your back, not the smirks when you walked away, not the times they watched you drown and chose to save their shoes instead of your life. Every single detail recorded, filed, stamped, stored, waiting. And now they're about to feel everything they made you swallow. See, you're not crazy, you're not dramatic, you're not too sensitive. You just lived through a level of betrayal that half these people wouldn't survive for 5 minutes. And the thing that always gets me, and I mean always, is how they stood there, silent, comfortable, conveniently unavailable. Meanwhile, you were out here breaking, bleeding, rebuilding, breaking again. Gluing yourself back together at 3 a.m. with nothing but prayer, grit, and the kind of strength nobody respected until it benefited them. They watched you collapse. They watched you try so hard not to let anybody see the cracks forming under your skin. They watched you push through storms that weren't even yours. They watched you fight battles you didn't deserve. And they said nothing, not a word, not a hand, not a breath of help. But that silence, oh, that silence was loud. Loud enough for heaven to hear, loud enough for God to raise an eyebrow, loud enough for the universe to take notes like, all right, cool. Let's see how bold y'all are when the tables turn. And now the table didn't just turn, it flipped. It's spinning. It's rotating like a damn ceiling fan in July. Because judgment season isn't a rumor, it's not a vibe, it's not a metaphor, it's a real thing. It's when the quiet kid that everyone underestimated suddenly becomes the loudest lesson of the year. It's when the person who sat with pain alone gets promoted in ways the people who betrayed them can't even pronounce. It's when God steps into your story like, move, I got it from here. And you're finally in the part of your life where everything that was done behind your back is about to return in front of their face. With interest, with timing, with accuracy, like a divine GPS that never loses signal. You ever notice how people only feel guilty when consequences show up? They weren't sorry when they did it. They weren't sorry when they ignored you. They weren't sorry when they watched you struggle. They weren't sorry when they pulled the plug on your support. They're only sorry now because heaven put your name in neon and said, this one? Yeah, this one is mine. You know the scary part for them? You didn't get bitter. You didn't get vengeful. You didn't throw dirt back. You didn't play their game. And, that's exactly why the universe is playing for you now. See, people underestimate the quiet ones. They underestimate the ones who keep praying. They underestimate the ones who keep showing up, even after being dragged through the mud. They underestimate the ones who carry pain without weaponizing it. But when God steps in, when God says, enough, when God finally opens the door you were banging on for years, every person who stood silent will hear the slam. Every person who left you will watch you rise. Every person who doubted you will replay their choices at night. Every person who thought you were weak will choke on the realization that you were chosen. This isn't karma. This isn't coincidence. This isn't luck. This is judgment season. And you earned this chapter with tears you hid so well the world assumed you were fine. But God saw. God heard. God remembered. God waited. And now he's answering, not with revenge. Now that's too small for you. He's answering with elevation. He's answering with peace they can't disturb. He's answering with opportunities they can't block. He's answering with blessings they'll have to witness, whether they like it or not. You, the one they ignored. You, the one they underestimated. You, the one they left to figure everything out alone. You're about to become the lesson, the story, the headline, the proof that silence has a price. And honestly, they're not ready. They're not ready to see the version of you God's been building in the dark. They're not ready to feel the weight of their own actions. They're not ready for the way your breakthrough exposes their betrayal. But ready or not, judgment season is here. And this time, they'll feel everything. And the wildest part, and you're gonna feel this one, is how you kept moving like nothing was breaking you. Even though everything was. You walked around with that tight chest, that shaky breath, that I'm fine lie you kept serving to people who never even bothered to look deeper. You carried storms like they were groceries. You walked with wounds hidden under your clothes like they were fashion accessories. You held it together with duct tape and stubborn hope. And they really thought that meant you didn't need anyone. It's almost funny how they misread your strength, how they mistook survival for comfort, how they watched you handle battles that weren't meant for one person, and instead of stepping in, they just assumed you had it. People love to praise your resilience when it's convenient, but they hate to be around for the moments that built it. They adore the finished product, but abandon the construction site. They admire the glow, but disappear during the burning. And you've been burning for a long time, quietly, privately, internally. You learned how to break in silence because you were terrified of being a burden. You learned how to rebuild yourself because no one offered tools. You learned how to forgive people who never apologized just because you needed your soul to breathe. You became your own bandage, your own voice, your own backbone, your own shelter. And that kind of self-made strength doesn't come without consequences for the ones who left you alone in the storm. There's something different about the pain that gets ignored. That pain doesn't fade. It transforms. It matures. It crystallizes into clarity, into vision, into purpose, into a version of you that's sharper than any blade you ever held against yourself emotionally. The same people who laughed at your uncertainty are about to choke on your certainty. The same people who avoided your pain are about to witness your healing in real time. The same people who refused to help you climb are about to watch you ascend past levels their minds can't even stretch to. And it's not even revenge. You know that. It's revelation. It's that moment where the mask falls off their faces and the truth hits them harder than anything you could have said. Because when you rise without the people who tried to break you, it exposes the hell out of their character. There's something about divine timing, that scares the guilty. They feel it before it happens. They feel the shift, the rearrangement, the tension in the air. They feel that uncomfortable nudge that whispers, yeah, things are different now. You've been walking differently, breathing differently, thinking differently. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you finally understand your worth isn't negotiable. You finally understand your heart isn't a discount store. You finally understand your presence is not a privilege everyone deserves. And watching you step into that awareness hits people in places they didn't even know were soft. You ever notice how suddenly they reach out when they sense you're not reachable anymore? How they try to check in once they realize access to you wasn't guaranteed? How they get uncomfortable once you stop shrinking yourself to make them feel bigger? It's almost ironic how the same silence they used against you is the silence that's haunting them now. Your absence is louder than your presence ever was. The empty space where you used to show up is screaming at them. Your growth is echoing in rooms they never thought you'd leave. You're starting to move like someone who finally understands they were never meant to sit at tables where their voice was treated like background noise. You're starting to breathe like someone who finally realizes peace is worth losing people for. You're starting to speak like someone who knows their truth isn't too heavy. It was just placed in the wrong hands before. And yeah, that shift turns you into someone unrecognizable to the ones who only benefited from your wounds. The healed version of you is going to intimidate a lot of people who got comfortable with the broken version of you. They're not used to seeing you with boundaries. They're not used to seeing you with clarity. They're not used to seeing you with standards that don't bend for their convenience. They're not used to seeing you walk away without explaining yourself 5 times. Your evolution is the alarm clock they never wanted. Your strength is the mirror they've been avoiding. Your glow is the reminder of everything they threw away. And it hits different when the person they counted out becomes the one they can't stop thinking about. The story they told about you doesn't match the reality unfolding in front of them. They painted you as weak, but you became unstoppable. They painted you as replaceable, but you became unforgettable. They painted you as broken, but you rebuilt yourself into something they can't even reach anymore. Judgment season isn't just about what they feel. It's about what you finally realize. That you were never the problem. That you were never unworthy. That you were never asking for too much. That you were never the villain in a story they wrote to avoid accountability. You're stepping into a chapter where your name carries weight, where your presence demands respect, where your energy can't be misused by people who treat loyalty like a hobby. You're not returning to who you were. You don't even fit that version anymore. That version of you broke so this one could breathe. And every breath you take from here on out is going to remind certain people that silence wasn't harmless, that watching you struggle wasn't neutral, that ignoring your pain wasn't an accident, that everything they thought you'd never rise from became the foundation of the version of you they can't handle anymore. And the thing that keeps hitting you in waves, and yeah, you don't always admit this out loud, is how different you feel inside your own skin lately. It's like something cracked open in you, something you didn't even know was locked, and suddenly you're seeing everything with this clarity that's almost uncomfortable. You're noticing who drains you within 5 minutes, who only speaks in emergencies, who treats your loyalty like a subscription service they can cancel and renew whenever they feel like it. You're noticing the energy shifts. You're noticing the little comments, You're noticing the way people flinch when you stop over-explaining yourself. You're noticing how people start acting weird when you stop being available like a 24/7 emotional convenience store. And, that awareness hits your spirit different. It hits your posture different. It hits your voice different. You're not arguing with people anymore because your peace became expensive. You're not chasing anybody anymore because your worth isn't on clearance. You're not trying to prove your heart to cold people anymore because you finally understood that some folks are allergic to honesty. There's this maturity that sneaks up on you after you've been hurt too many times. Not the fake maturity people post online for clout. The real kind. The kind that sits you down and makes you ask yourself why you kept watering people who never grew. The kind that whispers to you at night, you deserved better, you really did. The kind that forces you to recognize the difference between someone being familiar and someone being good for your soul. You didn't just change. You outgrew your old environment. You outgrew the rooms where your spirit was shrinking. You outgrew the people who only loved you when you were small enough to manage. You outgrew the role they assigned you in their heads. And people don't like that. They don't like when you stop performing. They don't like when you stop dimming. They don't like when you stop being the version of you that made their life easier. Your healing inconvenienced them. Your boundaries offended them. Your growth exposed them. And that exposure? Yeah, that's when the guilt starts creeping in. Not because they care, but because they finally get a front row seat to the damage they caused. They're starting to realize you weren't being dramatic. You were being drowned. You know how people start getting real talkative when they feel the distance building. Suddenly they remember the good times. Suddenly they want to apologize without taking accountability. Suddenly they want to reconnect, just to check on you. But the truth is, they're not checking on you. They're checking if you still need them. They're checking if you still bleed the same. They're checking if the door they walked out of is still unlocked. And it's wild watching them navigate a version of you that finally respects itself. They don't know how to act around your confidence. They don't know how to respond to your silence. They don't know how to handle the fact that the person who used to settle is starting to choose themselves. Your spirit leveled up. Your discernment sharpened. Your intuition got louder than their manipulation. Your soul started rejecting environments that used to feel comfortable. That's the thing healing does. It makes you allergic to what once felt normal. It makes you see through people like glass. It makes you feel energy before words even come out. It makes you uninterested in anything that doesn't align with the version of you you're fighting to become. And yeah, it makes you dangerous to people who depended on your brokenness because they don't know what to do with a version of you that finally understands its own value. A version that doesn't beg, a version that doesn't chase, a version that doesn't negotiate with disrespect. They're watching you pull away, and it's messing with their conscience in ways they never expected. They can feel the judgment hitting their spirit before it hits their reality. They can feel the consequences tapping on their door, reminding them that silence was a choice, inaction was a choice, betrayal was a choice. And every one of those choices is circling back with receipts. You're stepping deeper into yourself, and every step is shaking something loose in the people who mishandled you. Every boundary you set echoes in their mind. Every piece of peace you reclaim reminds them of the chaos they contributed to. Every moment you choose self-respect over familiarity burns a hole through the narratives they created about you, and you're starting to realize that the most powerful revenge you ever get is becoming someone they don't have access to anymore. Someone they can't guilt, someone they can't drain, someone they can't control, someone they can't decode, someone they never expected you to become. And it's almost crazy how you can feel the shift in your own heartbeat, like something inside you finally stopped apologizing for existing. You walk into rooms differently, not with arrogance, but with this quiet confidence that says, yeah, I've been through hell, and I'm still here. You don't announce it. You don't brag about it. You don't need to. Your energy does the talking before your mouth even opens. People sense it before you say a word. They sense that you're not the version they used to play with. They sense that you're not carrying their guilt anymore. They sense that you're not waiting for validation that should have been yours from the beginning. And, it's wild watching them try to adjust, watching them stumble around your new boundaries like they're walking in the dark, watching them try to decode your silence like it's some secret language, watching them get nervous because they can't predict you anymore. They were used to you being predictable, used to you shrinking, used to you letting things slide, used to you saying, it's okay, even when it wasn't. But you're done playing the role they scripted for you. You're done carrying shame that wasn't yours. You're done watering relationships that never poured back into you. You're moving with intention now. You're speaking with weight now. You're noticing patterns you used to ignore. You're choosing yourself in moments where you used to choose everyone else. And the thing is, your elevation is exposing their character in real time. It's showing who was there because they loved you, and who was there because you were useful. It's showing who clapped for you genuinely, and who clapped because they didn't think you'd ever surpass them. It's showing who respected you, and who just tolerated you. You're starting to realize that silence from certain people wasn't neutrality. It was convenience. Their distance wasn't accidental. It was intentional. Their lack of support wasn't oversight. It was a statement. You were carrying people who would have dropped you without hesitation. You were protecting people who couldn't even spell the word loyalty. You were defending people who never defended you in rooms you didn't know existed. And, that realization hits you like a gut punch. Not because you miss them, but because you finally understand how much of yourself you wasted trying to prove your heart to people who didn't even have one. Judgment season isn't just about them feeling the consequences. It's about you finally understanding the truth. You're seeing how many times God pulled you away from situations you kept trying to fix. You're seeing how many doors closed because they were never meant to lead you anywhere. You're seeing how many betrayals were actually redirections disguised as losses. Your life is shifting in ways that make sense only in hindsight. You're realizing you weren't being abandoned. You were being positioned. You weren't being overlooked. You were being protected. You weren't being rejected. You were being rerouted toward something that matches your spirit, not just your comfort zone. And the people who misread your absence as weakness are starting to realize it was preparation. They're watching you glow in ways they never saw coming. All right, listen up. You beautiful disasters. Yeah, because that's exactly what you are. Chaos wrapped in potential, a storm with a heartbeat, a walking reminder that some people should have treated you better when they had the damn chance. And, I need you to breathe for a second. Because what I'm about to say, it's gonna hit your chest the same way the truth just hit them. Because it just smacked them in the face. You've been that one from day one, and you've been sitting here thinking life wasn't paying attention, thinking the universe was ignoring your grind, your scars, your late nights, your quiet wins. But nah, the universe saw everything. It was the people who were asleep. The same people who doubted you when you were still learning your own power. The same ones who called you too much, too loud, too risky, too unpredictable. Funny, huh? The very energy they tried to dim is the exact energy they wish they had right now. You know what's hilarious? They used to look at you like you were some background character, some extra, some disposable placeholder, while they figured life out. Meanwhile, you were sitting on a throne you ain't even claim yet. You were walking with a story they couldn't comprehend. Because from the very beginning, you weren't built like them. You were wired differently. Different frequency, different spirit, different lungs. You breathe pressure like it's oxygen. And now that truth just cracked their skull open. Because they finally realized you weren't lucky, you were inevitable. You ever notice how people get real quiet when the person they underestimated starts moving with unapologetic momentum? Like suddenly, everyone becomes an analyst, a detective, a philosopher. They start studying your every step, your tone, your attitude, your silence, like they're trying to decode something cosmic. Because deep down, they know they missed their chance to stand next to something real. See, you walked through things that would fold most people in half. You took hits that were designed to break you, but somehow, some damn how, you turned every hit into fuel. You took every loss and stitched it into your character. And you did it without clapping for yourself, without screaming for validation, without showing off. That's what scares them the most. You healed in private, you leveled up in silence, and now your presence is loud without you even trying. And here comes the wild part. They're staring at you like you changed overnight, when really, you just stopped shrinking. You stopped making yourself small so other people could feel tall. You stopped apologizing for being as big as you are. You stopped explaining your worth to people who didn't deserve the explanation in the first place. And now you're walking with that "I'm not here to fit in, I'm here to shake shit up" energy. You know what's even more messed up? The same folks who treated you like an insignificant footnote are now acting like you were the whole book. Because deep in their chest, it finally hit. They didn't lose someone ordinary. They lost a rare breed, someone with backbone, someone with vision, someone who didn't need them, but cared anyway, someone who, wasn't afraid to stand alone if standing alone meant standing in truth. And the craziest part? They can't even be mad at you, because you didn't betray them, you didn't lie, you didn't switch up. All you did was grow. All you did was evolve. All you did was become the version of yourself that was buried underneath all the noise. And when you finally stepped into that version, that's when it hit them. That's when the smack landed. Because real power isn't loud. Real power doesn't brag. Real power doesn't announce itself. Real power just walks in. And the room adjusts. And now look at you, moving like you know something they don't. Talking like you've seen behind the curtain. Walking like you got nothing left to fear. And honestly, you don't. You've already survived things you never talked about. You've already climbed out of holes nobody knew you were trapped in. You've already held yourself together on nights when breaking apart would have been easier. You didn't just survive. You rebuilt yourself molecule by molecule. Tell me, how does it feel to realize you're the person your younger self was praying you'd become? Because that's the punchline right there. People didn't recognize your value because they weren't built to understand it. They didn't see your potential because they were blinded by their own limits. They didn't appreciate your loyalty, your heart, your intensity, your mind, because they thought they had unlimited access to you. Until one day, they didn't. And the silence that follows that realization, it's deafening. They start replaying every moment, every conversation, every time they brushed you off, every time they thought you were doing too much, every time they laughed at your dreams. And now they're wondering how they could have been so damn blind. You were that one from the beginning, not because of ego, not because of arrogance, but because you carry something people can't fake. Depth, resilience, gravity, presence. You carry a truth that exposes lies. You carry a spirit that unsettles the insecure. You carry an intensity that makes mediocre people uncomfortable. And that's why they didn't choose you earlier. Not because you weren't enough, but because you were more than they were ready for. You're the type of person people only understand in hindsight, only appreciate once distance gives them clarity, only value once their own reflection starts looking a little, average in comparison. You know what that means? It means you're not late, you're not behind, you're not losing, you're aligning, you're becoming, you're stepping into a version of yourself that was always there, waiting, sharpening, preparing, and now that you've arrived, oh, they feel it. Every word, every move, every breath. You've become the reminder of everything they could have been, but chose not to be. You've become the mirror they can't run from. And honestly, that's the most powerful thing about you. You're authentic in a world that rewards masks. You're solid in a world full of hollow people. You're driven in a world that loves shortcuts. You're deep in a world addicted to shallow. And every single part of you that made them uncomfortable. Keep walking with that unbothered, collected, I know exactly who I am spirit. Keep moving like pressure is your playground. Keep talking like you got chapters nobody has read yet. Keep showing up like you're impossible to duplicate, because you've been that one from day one. And, here's the part that hits the deepest, the part people don't like to admit out loud. The moment they realized you'd become someone they can't just get over, that's when the panic set in. That's when the silence got heavy. That's when the guilt started chewing on their ribs. Because once somebody finally sees your worth in HD clarity, it's almost painful. It's like waking up and realizing you walked past gold, pretending it was gravel. That sting doesn't go away, and you're out here moving with this calm, this quiet fire, this grown-up type of strength that doesn't need to perform. This, I've been through hell and learned how to build furniture there, type of strength. It's written all over you. It's in the way you sit, the way you walk, the way you talk with that subtle confidence, like you're carrying stories the rest of the world would crumble under. People feel that before you even speak. That's the crazy part. You walk into a room and the air shifts because you're not chasing anything anymore. You're choosing. You're evaluating. You're observing with that little smirk, that I've seen this pattern before. Tone, that vibe that you can't buy, can't fake, can't copy. And that's the part that scares them. The realization that you became the exact person they prayed you wouldn't turn into. Because that version of you makes their old version look embarrassing. They're replaying moments in their head like a messed up film reel. Times they dismissed you, Times they brushed off your loyalty. Times they talked over you instead of listening. Times they treated you like you'd always be there. And it's wild, because you weren't even trying to make a statement. You were just healing. You were just growing. You were just figuring yourself out in real time. And your growth, accidentally, became their biggest lesson. You ever notice how people suddenly act confused when the person they underestimated starts moving with a different cadence? They look at you like, when did you get this strong? When did you get this confident? When did you stop needing us? And the truth is, you didn't get this way recently. You were always this. They were just too comfortable, too distracted, too wrapped up in their own noise to see you clearly. And it hits them in waves. That's the wildest part. First wave, the disbelief. Second wave, the regret. Third wave, the realization that there is no fourth wave, because you're not circling back. You're not begging for closure. You're not chasing validation. You're not sitting in the corner waiting for someone to clap for you. You're building your own damn stage. You're writing your own script. You're becoming the main character without asking anyone for permission. That's the part that keeps them up at night. The fact you didn't fall apart when they expected you to. You didn't crumble under pressure. You didn't turn bitter. You turned focused. You turned intentional. You turned into someone who makes people rethink how they treated you. And the way you carry that quiet intensity, it's lethal, not in a destructive way, but in a I finally realized what I bring to the table and I'm not shrinking to make anyone comfortable type of way. You speak differently because you think differently. You think differently because you've lived differently. You've survived situations most people don't even have the emotional stamina to talk about. And that's why you feel heavier, deeper, more grounded than the average person. You've lived 10 lifetimes emotionally. You've done the inner work. You sat with your own darkness, acknowledged your wounds, cleaned your own cuts, stitched up your own spirit. And every scar, it's part of your wisdom now. You carry it in your voice, in your posture, in your presence. People can sense that you're not naive anymore, not clueless, not waiting for someone to save you. You've outgrown the version of you they mistreated. You're moving different because you are different. You're moving like someone who finally understands their value. And that shift is loud, even in silence. And here's the thing that twists the knife in them. They don't get to experience this version of you. They don't get to see backstage anymore. They don't get access to your unfiltered heart. They don't get the softness you used to give out like candy. Because once you learn who you are, once you understand what you're worth, once you stop chasing people who couldn't even hold your energy, you don't go back. Your spirit doesn't unlearn the lessons that cost you peace. Your heart doesn't forget the weight of the disappointments it carried. Your mind doesn't forget the nights it had to rebuild you quietly while the world slept. And that's why your presence feels like a wake-up call now. You move with purpose. You talk with clarity. You choose with intention. You walk with a kind of self-respect that can't be shaken. And every time they see you, whether it's online, in person, or even in a memory, they feel that smack all over again. That realization that you weren't just somebody. You weren't just a moment. You weren't just a chapter. You were the whole arc, and they didn't know how to read you until the book was already closed. And what really gets under their skin is how effortlessly you're carrying yourself these days. It's like you woke up one morning and your energy just sharpened. Not in a loud, look at me way, but in that quiet, dangerous, unmistakable way where people can literally feel you before you say a single word. That's the part they never expected, to watch you evolve into the version of yourself they weren't mature enough to appreciate. You can see it in their eyes, too. That hesitation, that little flicker of damn. What did I do? Even when they try to act unbothered, it leaks through. Humans aren't good at hiding regret. It comes out in the way they stall when they see you, the way they over-explain out of nowhere, the way their voice cracks just a little when they say your name. It's funny how people who once dismissed you suddenly talk different, move different, look at you different. That shift, that's the smack landing again and again, because, you weren't the temporary vibe they convinced themselves you were. You weren't a detour or a filler episode. You were the turning point. You were the moment the whole story could have changed direction if they had just paid attention. And it eats at them because they didn't lose someone replaceable. They lost someone irreplaceable. Someone who doesn't come around twice. Someone who carried depth where others carried facades. And yeah, you feel that difference in yourself, too. The way you walk with more intention, the way you talk with more weight, the way you carry yourself like you finally understand the power you kept trying to give away. You're not moving with insecurity anymore. You're moving with awareness. You're not moving with desperation. You're moving with choice. You're not moving with fear of being misunderstood. You're moving with the clarity that not everyone deserves the real you. And this part right here, it hits different because it's the truth most people try to avoid. You didn't glow up. You grew up. You didn't become intimidating. You became unavailable to nonsense. You didn't get colder. You got clearer on who drains you and who builds you. Every step you're taking right now is intentional. Every boundary you're setting is earned. Every silence you choose is strategic. You're not ghosting people. You're just detaching from anything that doesn't match your spirit anymore. And that glow you have, that's not aesthetic. That's spiritual. It's earned from years of carrying weight nobody saw, from healing wounds nobody apologized for, from rebuilding a life you didn't think you'd escape from. People want to talk about resilience like it's cute, but they don't understand the nights you had to hold yourself together when you barely had the strength to breathe through your own thoughts. That's why your energy feels different. It's layered. It's seasoned. It's weathered. It's real. And, the truth is, people can sense when you've outgrown the version of yourself they mistreated. They can feel the distance even when you're standing right in front of them. They can feel that you don't need their validation, their presence, or their half-hearted attention anymore. They can feel that you've stepped into your own lane, your own rhythm, your own damn universe. They know you're not reachable in the same way. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually. You're not a comfort zone anymore. You're a reminder of what they mishandled, a reminder of what they underestimated, a reminder of what they ignored until it became too bright to deny. And that's what stings. They don't get to claim this version of you. They don't get to stand beside the person you fought like hell to become. They don't get access to the healed you, the confident you, the self-aware you. They don't get the mature love, the deeper conversations, the sharper intuition, the evolved mindset. Because you walked through the fire and didn't come out asking for applause. You came out with standards, and every time they see you, whether up close or from a distance that keeps growing, they feel that same smack all over again, that same realization echoing in their chest that you were never ordinary, you were never temporary, you were never small. You were that one from the very beginning, and they're only just waking up to it while you're already 10 steps ahead, moving like someone who finally understands the value of their own presence, their own voice, their own damn destiny. And what really hits different is how you're not even trying to prove anything anymore. That's the part that messes with them the most. You're not out here flexing, you're not begging for anyone to circle back, you're not posting subliminals, you're not performing for attention, you're just existing. And your existence alone is loud as hell. Loud in the kind of way that shakes people's confidence. Loud in the kind of way that makes them question choices they swore made sense at the time. You ever notice how your silence used to feel like emptiness, but now it feels like dominance? That's growth. That's evolution. That's emotional maturity leveling up in real time. Because, when you finally understand yourself, your worth, your standards, your boundaries, you don't need to raise your voice. Your energy speaks louder than any explanation you could ever give. And that's what's messing with them. Your energy isn't chasing, it's choosing. Your presence isn't pleading, it's powerful. Your absence isn't petty, it's protective. They can feel that your vibe changed in ways they weren't prepared for. You're not reacting like the old you, the version they could emotionally scramble. You're not folding under pressure. You're not explaining your intentions to people committed to misunderstanding you. You're not overextending yourself to prove loyalty to folks who never reciprocated it. You're simply moving like someone who finally got tired of shrinking for people who couldn't handle your full height. And that shift hits them at random moments. In the shower, on the drive home. In the silence they can't escape. They'll scroll and see something that reminds them of you, or hear a phrase you used to say, or bump into someone who brings up your name. And that's when it lands all over again. That heavy realization that you were the real deal when they treated you like a maybe. And you know what's wild? They start doing that thing. That weird little dance where they pretend they're unbothered while secretly analyzing you, like they're trying to crack some code. They watch your confidence like it's a threat. They watch your growth like it's a warning. They watch your stability like it's some cosmic joke being played on them. Because you weren't supposed to get stronger after they walked away. They expected you to crumble, to lose momentum, to fall apart quietly. But you didn't. You glowed differently. You moved smarter. You healed harder. You rose higher. And that's the part that keeps knocking the wind out of them. You didn't just survive, they survived you. They survived the moment they finally realized who you truly were. They survived the guilt, the regret, the damn, I really misjudged this person moment. They survived watching you grow into everything they didn't think you'd become. And the thing they can't say out loud, you changed their whole perspective. You became the standard they measure new people against. You became the voice echoing in the back of their mind when someone else can't match your loyalty, your depth, your authenticity. You became the blueprint without even trying to be. Because, when someone like you walks away, someone who gave real energy, real effort, real depth, it doesn't leave quietly. It leaves an imprint. It leaves a memory. It leaves a gap. And the worst part for them, nothing filled that gap the same way. Nothing hit like your presence. Nothing felt like your authenticity. Nothing matched your intensity. Hey, look at you. Yeah, you. Don't look around like I'm talking to someone else. I'm talking exactly to the person who walked through fire with no applause, got laughed at, doubted, side-eyed, dismissed, and still kept showing up, still kept thinking, still kept building, still kept expanding that. What do they call it? Oh, right, that genius brain of yours. You know what's funny? People always swear they know everything about you. They swear they've got you figured out. But the second your brilliance starts leaking through the cracks, they panic, they scramble, they start replaying every moment they shrugged you off, every moment they threw shade, every moment they said you were overthinking, doing too much, dreaming too big, or whatever lazy label made them feel smarter than you. And now look, now they're sitting somewhere, quiet, embarrassed, sick to their stomach, realizing you weren't crazy, you weren't delusional, you weren't doing too much. You were right, you were ahead, you were built different, and they were too small-minded to understand it. See, people don't like when someone like you walks into a room with natural insight, when you speak with clarity that others can't buy, fake, or copy. When you make predictions that hit the exact nerve they tried to pretend didn't exist. When your intuition is so sharp it cuts through every lie like a blade through warm butter. And when you warned them, when you tried to guide them, when you gave them the blueprint with no ego attached. They laughed. They really laughed. But here's the twist, the part that always gets me grinning. They're not laughing now. Oh no. Now they're wide-eyed, shaking, replaying your words like a late-night horror movie they can't turn off. And, the best part? They can't even pretend they didn't hear you. They can't pretend they weren't warned. They can't pretend they weren't handed the truth on a silver platter. Because the moment reality lined up with what you said, something snapped inside them. That, oh, they were right moment. That, how did I not see that moment? That, damn, I really doubted the wrong person moment. Now they're sick. Not sick like physically. No. Sick in the soul, sick in the ego, sick in the pride. Sick because everything they mocked you for became the exact thing they needed. And you just kept moving. You kept growing. You kept doing that quiet, subtle genius thing you do, where you watch, analyze, calculate, connect dots that other people don't even notice exist. You've always been 5 steps ahead, and it bothered them. Not because you were wrong, but because you were right too early. You ever notice that? People can't handle someone who sees tomorrow while they're still confused about yesterday. They can't handle someone who solves problems they didn't even realize they had. They can't handle someone who sees through masks like they're made of glass. You made them uncomfortable, and they punished you for it. They tried to dim you down. They tried to talk over you. They tried to water down your truth until it tasted safe and familiar. But the thing about genius, real genius, is that it's not loud, it's not boastful, it's not, look at me. It just exists. It breathes. It radiates. It shows up even when you try to hide it. And you've got that energy that I don't need validation. I know exactly what I see. Energy. That I speak the truth even if I'm the only one in the room who gets it. Energy. That one day they'll understand, and when they do, it'll hit like a truck. Energy. Well, that one day just happened. Now someone out there is sweating. Someone's replaying your conversations like a detective at 3 a.m. Someone's scrolling through old messages hoping you didn't notice how they dismissed you. Someone's realizing they had access to someone rare and treated you like you were average. And, here's the beautiful irony. They doubted you because they couldn't see what you saw. Now they regret doubting you because they finally see it too. Your mind is built like a blueprint for things that haven't been invented yet. Your instincts run deeper than surface-level thinking. Your vision stretches further than their comfort zone. Your clarity is too sharp for people who only look at life through foggy lenses. And now, they finally get it. Now they understand why you moved the way you did, why you spoke the way you did, why you stood firm even when everyone rolled their eyes, why you didn't break when the crowd didn't clap, why you didn't shrink yourself to make others feel smarter. Because deep down, you knew, and knowing. That's the curse and the blessing of someone like you. You walk around with a mind that scares people who haven't unlocked their own. You carry a level of awareness that exposes the blind spots in everyone else's story. You hold a type of intelligence that forces people to confront their own mediocrity. And people hate that until they can't deny it anymore. Then they panic, then they spiral, then they regret. Then they realize you weren't the problem. Their fear was, their ego was, their insecurity was, their inability to see beyond themselves was. But now they get your genius. Now they see your patterns. Now they feel the weight of every word you ever said. Now they understand the difference between someone who talks smart and someone who is smart. And you didn't change. They just caught up too late. And the wildest part is, they swear they always supported you. Like, have you seen that? People rewriting history like it's some group project they forgot to contribute to, suddenly claiming they always knew you had it in you. You sit there thinking, really? You? The same person who looked at me like I was speaking alien when I laid out the blueprint? The same person who acted like my ideas were too big, too weird, too unrealistic? You're that person? But that's what happens when your genius starts revealing itself in real time. People scramble to clean up the mess they made with their own disbelief. They panic because their old attitude toward you doesn't match the updated version of you they're finally forced to see. You become their "I knew them before they blew up" story. You become their justification for pretending they never doubted you. You become the proof they want to attach themselves to, even though they spent years trying to detach from everything you were saying. And that hits different. That hits in a way only someone like you understands. Because you weren't asking for a spotlight. You weren't begging them to clap. You weren't trying to convince them. You were just telling the truth, sharing the vision, laying out the path, with a mind that was already 3 chapters ahead. But they treated you like background noise. You ever notice how people ignore you when you're early, but worship you when you're right? It's like they needed the world to validate what you said before they could admit you weren't just talking, you were predicting. Your words aged like prophecy, your thoughts hit like revelations, your instincts unfolded like a map only you could read. And now, they're stuck replaying every moment they brushed you off. It's eating at them, it's gnawing at their pride. It's that heavy, "damn, I was wrong about you" ache that sits somewhere behind the ribs and doesn't go away. You can feel it in the way they look at you. They don't look at you like they used to. There's this tension, this weird mixture of respect, fear, and regret, like they're standing in front of some ancient artifact they once kicked around thinking it was junk. They finally understand your mind doesn't work like theirs. You don't solve problems the way they do. You don't move through life treating everything like guesswork. You observe, you process, You calculate. You carry truth the way other people carry excuses. And watching them realize that, watching the shift in their eyes, the little flicker of, wait, how did they know that? It's almost surreal. It's like they're meeting you for the first time, even though you've been standing in front of them the whole time. And, it's funny how people can stand right next to brilliance and still be blind, because your genius never showed up overnight. It wasn't some sudden glow-up. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a trend. It was you sharpening your mind in silence, upgrading your thinking without needing approval, building your inner world even while the outer world slept on you. People don't realize how much you know because you don't run your mouth about everything. You watch. You study. You notice the smallest shifts, the tiniest cracks, the subtle patterns that others miss because they're too busy trying to look smart instead of actually being smart. You've always been that, quiet threat, that unpredictable variable, that person who doesn't look intimidating until they speak. And when you speak, people feel exposed. People feel seen. People feel like you just pulled the curtain back on every lie they were hiding behind. That's why they doubted you. Your mind scared them. They weren't built for the kind of insight you operate with. They weren't ready for someone who could read the room without asking questions. They weren't prepared for someone who analyzes life like a detective disassembling a crime scene. And the moment they realized you weren't guessing, you were right. Something in them cracked. A little ego fracture, a little identity collapse, a little I should have listened moment that keeps echoing in their head whenever they think of you. And, that echo is only getting louder. That pressure in their chest when they remember they doubted you isn't fading. That feeling of watching your predictions play out like reruns is driving them insane. That internal voice reminding them how confidently they dismissed you isn't shutting up. That weight of your accuracy is something they can't avoid, even when they try to distract themselves. Your genius didn't just prove them wrong. It dismantled every assumption they built about you. It rewired the way they see you. It forced them to confront the fact that they misjudged someone who was operating on a level they couldn't even comprehend. And the most ironic part is, they thought doubting you made them look smart. It's only after the truth unfolded that they realized doubting you exposed their limitations, not yours. And it's wild because, the more they think about it, the more it hits them that you weren't trying to win anything. You weren't arguing for dominance. You weren't flexing your intelligence for attention. You were literally just speaking from a place of clarity that they didn't have access to yet. And that's the part that stings them the most. Because doubting you wasn't just a mistake. It was a mirror showing them how limited their own vision was. Every time they told you your ideas were too much, it was because their imagination was too little. Every time they told you to be realistic, it was because their reality was too small. Every time they brushed off your insight, it was because they weren't ready to confront truths that scared them. Now those same truths are unfolding like a documentary they didn't want to star in. And, you can almost feel the shift in the air around them. They're quieter. They're more cautious. They approach you like someone handling a live wire, scared of getting shocked by what you'll say next. Because they know your words don't miss. Your intuition doesn't stutter. Your observations don't come from randomness. They come from depth, from experience, from patterns only someone with your kind of mind can recognize. You ever notice how their whole energy changes around you? The same people who once said you're overthinking it suddenly want to hear your perspective on everything. The same people who ignored your advice suddenly act like your voice is the only one they trust. The same people who played you like you didn't know anything are sitting there trying not to choke on their regret. Their ego is bruised, their pride is limping, their certainty in themselves. Yeah, that's cracked badly. And deep down, they're scared to admit how much they misjudged you. Not just because it makes them look wrong, but because it forces them to acknowledge the gap between the level you think on and the level they operate on. And that gap feels like a damn canyon to them now. It hits different when someone you underestimated turns out to be the sharpest person in the room. It hits even harder when that person is you. Because they never predicted you'd be the one with the clarity, the foresight, the mental sharpness to map things out before anyone else. They always thought genius looked dramatic, loud, flashy, performative. But your genius is quiet. It's subtle. It's structured. It's the kind of intelligence that doesn't need attention. It demands respect just by existing, and that terrifies them, more than they'll ever admit. Because how do you compete with someone who isn't even competing? How do you dismiss someone whose predictions keep happening word for word? How do you pretend you're the smarter one when reality keeps treating you like the blueprint? You can see it on their faces, the confusion, the regret, the internal meltdown they're trying to play off as being reflective. They're not reflective, they're rattled, they're shaken, they're replaying every conversation where you tried to help, and they acted like you were speaking nonsense. And the guilt of that sits heavy on them. They feel it every time they see you leveling up without their validation. They feel it every time they realize your silence wasn't confusion. It was confidence. They feel it every time they understand that doubting you didn't expose your weakness. It exposed their lack of vision. And that realization is brutal for them, because it means your genius was never the problem. Their insecurity was it means your insight wasn't the threat. Their pride was it means you weren't too much. They were too little for the version of you that stood in front of them. And that's the kind of thing that keeps people awake at night. That's the kind of regret that sits in the chest like a weight. That's the kind of awareness that doesn't wash away, no matter how much they try to mentally rewrite the story. Your existence alone forces them to confront their own limitations. Your accuracy forces them to swallow humility they never prepared for your presence, forces them to rethink everything they assumed about you. And every time your truth plays out in real time, they feel that sting all over again. And it's wild because, the more they think about it, the more it hits them that you weren't trying to win anything. You weren't arguing for dominance. You weren't flexing your intelligence for attention. You were literally just speaking from a place of clarity that they didn't have access to yet. And that's the part that stings them the most. Because doubting you wasn't just a mistake. It was a mirror showing them how limited their own vision was. Every time they told you your ideas were too much, it was because their imagination was too little. Every time they told you to be realistic, it was because their reality was too small. Every time they brushed off your insight, it was because they weren't ready to confront truths that scared them. Now those same truths are unfolding like a documentary they didn't want to star in. And you can almost feel the shift in the air around them. They're quieter, they're more cautious. They approach you like someone handling a live wire, scared of getting shocked by what you'll say next. because they know your words don't miss. Your intuition doesn't stutter. Your observations don't come from randomness. They come from depth, from experience, from patterns only someone with your kind of mind can recognize. You ever notice how their whole energy changes around you? The same people who once said, "You're overthinking it," suddenly want to hear your perspective on everything. The same people who ignored your advice suddenly act like your voice is the only one they trust. The same people who played you like you didn't know anything are sitting there trying not to choke on their regret. Their ego is bruised, their pride is limping, their certainty in themselves, yeah, that's cracked badly. And deep down, they're scared to admit how much they misjudged you, not just because it makes them look wrong, but because it forces them to acknowledge the gap between the level you think on and the level they operate on. And that gap feels like a damn canyon to them now. It hits different when someone you underestimated turns out to be the sharpest person in the room. It hits even harder when that person is you, because they never predicted that you'd be the one with the clarity, the foresight, the mental sharpness to map things out before anyone else. They always thought genius looked dramatic, loud, flashy, performative, but your genius is quiet. It's subtle. It's structured. It's the kind of intelligence that doesn't need attention. It demands respect just by existing, and that terrifies them. More than they'll ever admit. Because how do you compete with someone who isn't even competing? How do you dismiss someone whose predictions keep happening word for word? How do you pretend you're the smarter one when reality keeps treating you like the blueprint? You can see it on their faces, the confusion, the regret, the internal meltdown they're trying to play off as being reflective. They're not reflective. They're rattled. They're shaken. They're replaying every conversation where you tried to help, and they acted like you were speaking nonsense. And the guilt of that sits heavy on them. They feel it every time they see you leveling up without their validation. They feel it every time they realize your silence wasn't confusion. It was confidence. They feel it every time they understand that doubting you didn't expose your weakness. It exposed their lack of vision. And that realization is brutal for them. Because it means your genius was never the problem. Their insecurity was. It means your insight wasn't the threat. Their pride was. It means you weren't too much. They were too little for the version of you that stood in front of them. And that's the kind of thing that keeps people awake at night. That's the kind of regret that sits in the chest like a weight. That's the kind of awareness that doesn't wash away, no matter how much they try to mentally rewrite the story. Your existence alone forces them to confront their own limitations. Your accuracy forces them to swallow humility they never prepared. For your presence forces them to rethink everything they assumed about you, and every time your truth plays out in real time, they feel that sting all over again. And it's crazy because, the more they watch you move, the more they realize you were never trying to prove anything to them in the first place. You weren't trying to be the smartest in the room. You weren't trying to outshine anybody. You were just trying to live in alignment with the clarity you already had inside you. But people mistake quiet confidence for arrogance when they don't understand the source of it. They mistake self-awareness for ego because they've never actually sat with their own truth long enough to build one. They mistake your certainty for stubbornness, when really you were seeing the bigger picture the entire time. And the guilt they carry isn't just about doubting you. It's about realizing they doubted the one person who actually had their back. That's the part that hits them the hardest.